Right now, I'm reading the book of Esther. And if you don't know the story of Esther, Esther was basically someone who didn't have a mother or father, so she ended up being raised by her uncle, right? And in the time that she was living, there was a king. His queen ended up kind of disrespecting him in front of everybody, so he ended up telling telling her like, I'm good on you. Sending out a decree telling everybody like, bring me fair versions because I'm about to get a new queen because this queen is disrespectful. He basically put her out, pretty much. So then her uncle was like, "Oh, you should sign up because you pretty and you're a virgin. Like sign up." So she signs up, and as she signs up, she ends up getting favor from everybody who works with her to the point where she even gets favor from the king and she becomes the next queen. Now, I was always interested in the fact that it always said, and she gained favor from this person, and she gained favor from that person. And I'm like, it can't just be her looks. Because one thing about it is, I'm sure all of the virgins looked good. Because you're not about to come to the king any old kind of way, right? Like, I'm sure that you being a virgin wasn't enough. Like, he don't want no virgin, but she don't look good. So it wasn't Esther's looks, it was her spirit. And I realized her spirit because her uncle told her, don't tell them your lineage, don't tell them your ethnicity. And she listened to him. She didn't say, well, uncle, I want them to know who I am. She didn't have none of that. She was just like, okay, cool. You told me something, I'm going to listen to you. Then, when her uncle said, hey, something going on with the Jews, Esther was a Jew. And basically, somebody had made a decree saying, you go ahead and kill the Jews, destroy them, take all of their stuff. Now, her uncle was upset. Esther found out. She said, what's up? He said, okay, well, they trying to kill all the Jews. I need you to go talk to the king. You the queen. And she said, I can't do that. He hasn't asked me to come in there. You can't go up in front of the king without him asking you to come in. They'll kill me. And her uncle said, look now, this might be the reason why God appointed you to that position so that you could come and intercede for your people. Best believe God gonna come through either way. But will God come through with you or without you? Because either way, God is coming through. But if you deny what God wants you to do, then that's on you. She like, okay, cool. And this the part that really made me realize that the reason why people kept on giving her favor is because she humble. Because she could have clapped back. She could have said, I don't have to risk my life so that everybody else could live and then I die. No. She could have snapped off on Mordecai. Remind you, that's her uncle that raised her, so maybe not as much. But I'm just saying. She could have went there. She was the queen. He was talking to the queen. Not just Esther, the queen at that point. But she was humble. She said, fine, you right. But do me a favor. Go and do a fast. 3 days, 3 nights. I need everybody to go fast for me. Gather all the Jews in Shushan. Me and my maids are going to fast too. I need everybody fasting. So that when I enter the king's courts, without permission, because it is not by the law. That's what she said. Against the law or not by the law, something like that. I'm reading the King James Version, so y'all know how it is. I don't know exactly what it said, but I know what it means. But yeah, she said, go fast for me. And that's the difference between a lot of people. Once they get to a certain position, they don't look at God and ask God, what's the next step? And if somebody come and check them, they quick to check them back. Do you know who I am? Do you know my position, my authority, my power? Esther didn't have none of that. She didn't check Mordecai when he said, okay, God gonna come through for us anyhow. But if you don't do it, then that's on you. She didn't snap off on him. And when presented with the issue, she didn't say, well, I'm the queen. So I'm going to go up in that court and he going to listen to me because I am his queen. No. She said, I'm going to God. Because God can handle things way better than I can. I don't care what my position is. I don't care how beautiful I am. I don't care who respects me, who doesn't, who I have favor from. If I have favor from God, I know everything's going to work out. I've read Esther probably 5, 6 times. And it took me reading it this time to really realize why I kept on having to read Esther. Because I just had to keep reading Esther. Every time I opened up the Bible, it seemed I went right back to Esther. I'm like, I'm tired of reading Esther. I keep reading the same book. But it's because I had to learn the lesson. When you get to the positions that you want, don't you dare forget about God. And don't you dare think that that position is your authority. It ain't. Esther could, like I said, Esther could have easily said, I'm the queen. You don't talk to me that way. Or she could have went and said, I'm the queen. You're going to listen to me, king. But instead she said, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk on behalf of my people. But I'm also going to go ahead and make sure that God handle it on a spiritual level first. She recognized that even though God was with her, it was up to her to ask God to go on her behalf, to make it so that when she went in, he wouldn't say, go ahead and kill her. She's not supposed to be up in here. And at the end of it all, it ended up flipping. The people who were supposed to destroy the Jews ended up getting destroyed. There was another decree put out that the Jews were able to go out, and everybody who was supposed to have a hand in their downfall, they was able to go and pillage. And that happened because Esther had enough humility to go to God and to take correction. I don't know, that just blessed me. It blessed me so much. It reminded me, like, it doesn't matter what positions you have in life. It doesn't matter how far you go, how high you think you are. God is always higher. And yeah, you could look at it as a bad thing, but I see it as a positive. Because it's people who do things in high places or positions, and they feel as though, well, I'm this person, so you can't check me. I don't have to check you. I'm going to go talk to God about you. The man who Mordecai, Esther's uncle, was going against, he was a high official. He had authority. He had the king's ring on his fingers. He could have easily been like, well, I'm going to go talk to Haman. He didn't do that. He went to Esther. Esther went to God and then went to the king. And because they did it in that way, they went to the spiritual realm before they ever even addressed the physical. It all worked out in their favor.